She's not just a web development instructor, also she's a mentor, corporate trainer, and educator who has trained thousands of students across the globe. What are the common mistakes students make while building these full stack projects?
Even if you want to build your career into NoSQL or jump into MongoDB, but you should learn a bit about SQL.
We need to run both the engines simultaneously, right?
Definitely. I mean, this is one of the myth I see. Like I've worked with 24 plus clients, and
But frankly speaking, do we have that kind of strong basics, strong foundation that we lay? I won't think so.
without learning basics, your jumping onto projects will not help you in cracking the interview. Like I worked with one company, it was Singapore based. So their focus was to, in India, they would literally grill you on the basics. If I see like any clone project is there, right? First thing that comes to mind, maybe student have copied from GitHub.
What qualities do recruiters look for?
If you're adding any project, always include a live link. You should attach the live link of your project always.
Live links.
And as a fresher, obviously, if they don't have any experience, they should highlight their projects. Like they should add at least 3 to 4 projects.
Also, we are in the world where AI is writing almost entire code. On the other hand, right, what are the some core skills a developer need to master?
Business impact, how your project can enhance. Just market yourself to the best.
Okay, tell me what should a fresher's LinkedIn profile and this GitHub look like?
First thing that comes is people are saying, how am I looking? Just don't think about these things. Just document your journey. You can literally document your learning journey there.
So the answer is yes. Come up, show up on LinkedIn. Whatever you did, whatever you have learned.
One lady, I would say, she used to live in London and she was a housewife from I think 12 years. Yes, this is like the most important thing.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the another exciting episode. I'm Hrudesh. Today we have Urvashi Singla. She's not just a web development instructor, also she's a mentor, corporate trainer, and educator who has trained thousands of students across the globe. Whether you are just starting your full stack journey, preparing for your first day interview, this episode is your gateway. Hi Urvashi, thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Before proceeding, can you give us a little bit intro of yourself?
My name is Urvashi Singla, born and brought up in Chandigarh. I started my career as a web developer and then kind of had the passion to train students and then kind of swiftly moved to a career into trainer. And currently I'm working as a principal instructor and I've worked with 24 plus clients into edtech space nationally and internationally. I majorly help candidates with the training, curriculum preparation. I do YouTube live as well, workshops, and then I help candidates with profile building like resume building, LinkedIn optimization, and
Okay.
interviews. So yeah, that's about me.
That was cool. I mean, in your experience, you have trained thousands of students, right? What are the common mistakes students make while building these full stack projects?
Okay, so to start with, in full stack, like there are 2 parts, front end and back end. So usually if I talk about front end, students don't follow the folder structure, and then they don't focus on making the website responsive, which is the first thing that everyone would see. And then they don't focus on the good quality code writing. Like if they are doing API call, right, they should take care of asynchronous operations. So
Okay.
of course, let's say, for example, they should be using asynchronous keywords there. After that, they don't work on testing. As a developer, you should always do unit testing. So that is something they miss out. Debugging skills is extremely important. And the backend part, of course, it's more about API development. So they kind
Okay.
of miss out the part they should be using Express.js server for the RESTful API development. What are the good practices? Like again, they should also do testing. They should take care of they should use try-catch for error handling. So these are the things, and not just technical. The students a lot of time miss out the non-tech prep also. So yeah.
Here and there, we are listening about this blooming of AI era, right? I mean, with all these AI tools like ChatGPT and GitHub, where it's writing all the code, right? Do you think learning this traditional HTML, CSS, and JavaScript is still, these are still required for beginners?
Yes. Yes, definitely. See, if you want to build a career into it, right, you need to know the tech stack, of course. To start with, let's say HTML, CSS, JavaScript is the magic trio of web development. And of course, there are tools like GitHub Copilot is there, Gemini
Mm,
tools are
mm.
there, ChatGPT is there, right? So those will help you in kind of getting some things done, but at the end of the day, it's your brain you need to use, right? Even if you have to customize, like let's say you're
Okay.
using no code development, let's say WordPress, right? So even if you want to make any functional part there, like JavaScript, you need to know that. So at the end of the day, when it's come to scalability, customization, human intervention is anyways going to be there. So even if you're, let's say, creating a to-do list, basic application using ChatGPT, how to use it in your code, how to make customization, you need to have knowledge for that. So definitely,
Okay.
the developer is always going to be relevant even if any AI tools come. You just need to learn how to use these AI tools.
Okay. I mean, even though we have tools, AI tools, we should not directly depend on those AI tools, right? We can take help. If any error persists, or else if we struck at any particular amount of time, whatever the knowledge that we gained so far, that can help.
Yes, use it like a knowledge tool.
Knowledge tool. But if we ignore these traditional languages, and if we completely depend on these AI tools, if any error persists, it won't create any impact, right? I mean, it might take a lot of time.
Definitely. And anyways, customization again, like say if you, let's say someone who doesn't know any cooking, right? And if they went into kitchen, right? So even if they are using tools, let's say just for recipe, I'm using ChatGPT, right? But
Okay.
if I don't know the ingredients, how am I gonna cook? So you
Hmm.
need to know the basics. Then only you can use it like a tool for learning and then kind of make changes according to your knowledge.
Also, many students focus too much on only front end because of its usability or because of a lot of research, right? But how important is to balance both backend knowledge as well? I mean, we have few packages, right? Framework, Node.js, Express, MongoDB. I mean, connecting with the DB, right? How crucial of this backend while doing projects?
So I always suggest this to my candidates. Even if you want to build a career into front end, you should learn complete full stack. First of all, in front end, you are going to learn API integration, right? But what works behind APIs creation, development, you learn that in Node and Express and how database server works. So as a beginner, as a fresher, you should learn complete tech stack. Then you should ideally decide. Let's say some people have more interest into UI. Like I personally find more UI design more like creative. Like I'm a very creative person, so I like more of UI design. But of course, you have to learn complete tech stack, so you understand the complete application, and then maybe you can decide you work well with the front end, the CSS, the styling part, or you find more black and white screen like the back end part. But ideally, you should do the complete learning whenever you are starting with web development.
Okay. I mean, if any student struck while integrating the backend, right? They feel demotivated, right? I mean, doing the project at the initial stage, it's tough for any first year or second year student, right? What would you suggest them?
Okay. So, of course, there should be a proper plan you should start with. Like even if you talk about full stack development project, let's say done with your learning, and even in your learning, you must have realized like database server and backend is something that you should be firstly focusing on. Like you decide the fields in your database that you want to store, and then of course you can implement AI first development side by side. You can start with your front end development. So whenever you, of course, you get stuck, there are stages. Let's say you are stuck
Hmm.
into, let's say some core error has come, right? Then, like we just discussed, you can use some AI tools to kind of figure out some error is there. But if you are someone who is getting stuck in terms of learning how API development works, right? Then of course you should firstly start with Node.js. In Node.js, basically you study about modules. Then you go to Express. In Express, basically you read about routes, then you learn MongoDB connectivity in your code. Then you read about models, schema structure, and then you learn to create the API. So this is the basic flow you should be following. So once that learning is done, create backend project first instead of jumping into let me just
Hmm.
build a full stack directly. Build
Hmm.
a basic backend project. Pick any CRUD operation, like you can pick
Hmm.
any, let's say, booking app backend, YouTube subscriber, maybe some backend, Once you're done, comfortable, deploy it on the, let's say, render, you can deploy for free. Once that is working, your APIs are working, then try to integrate that simply. I mean, and your project will be done.
Like, if a student from second year or third year in their college, if they want to start their career in this web development, right?
Yes.
What path you suggest? I mean, starting with the traditional way. I mean, starting with the HTML, CSS, JavaScript. I mean, doing all the courses, or else the second way, directly dumping into the projects. Right?
I would never suggest going directly to the projects. To be honest, see, you will learn a lot of things while developing a project, but basics has to be clear. Like if I give you one roadmap, like in like in front end, you should start with basic of HTML, then CSS. HTML hardly takes 1 week to learn. Then
Okay.
spend 1 to 1.5 week on CSS. Learn some CSS framework like Tailwind you can learn. Then you go to JavaScript, learn basic programming fundamentals of JavaScript. Then move to ES6. Then start with React, where you will learn about CSR. And then, of course, spend 3 to 4 days on learning Next.js. Right? This should be a roadmap for front end. And, of course, Redux state management libraries you can explore. In backend, of course, you should start with basic of SQL. Even if you want to build your career into NoSQL or jump into MongoDB, but you should learn a bit about SQL. That will give you a perspective why you're going to MongoDB. Then you should go to Node, like I mentioned, modules, and then you learn with the Express. Then build the backend project, and then front end simultaneously with API first development, and then integrate it. In this way, your learning will also be done, and your project. And project is something you don't have to wait for your course to be done or learning to be done. You can start side by side. Let's say you finish HTML, CSS. So you start building a UI design. Easily you will get those online. So you can start building. So your UI design prep is done. So you can do learning and prep side by side like that.
Okay. I mean, we need to run both the engines simultaneously.
Definitely. Right? I mean, this is one of the myth I see. Like I've worked with 24 plus clients, and maximum time I've seen candidates, they feel like, let me learn everything and then I'm going to time on prep. Learning and prep goes hand in hand. They could never see. Preparation is not like extra thing. It's just that whatever you have learned, you have to learn to explain it in statements with examples. Simply. It goes hand in hand. You can, like, that would save your time a lot of time.
Okay. I mean, yeah, personally, few of instructors, what they said is, yeah, directly if you want to learn any tech stack, I mean, not only this one, if you want to learn anything, you can directly insert your head, right? Is that right way? I mean, inserting head directly into the projects. I mean, at the end, we can feel like, yeah, we got a project at a certain period of time, after a 1 week or after a 1 month.
Yes.
But frankly speaking, do we have that kind of strong basics, strong foundation that we laid? I won't think so.
So in this, see, everyone have their own perspective. See, I come with my experience. So I mean, with my experience, this is I have seen candidates who, let's say, if I was working in a company, like as a principal instructor, the student again learned some projects from online, just saw some videos online on YouTube, and then came and said, I want to get placed. Right? He have enrolled for the course. He didn't focus on learning. Instead, he just said, I just want placement. Right? But when I took his mock interview, he couldn't answer any question. So the point is, even if anyone is into B.Tech, or even if someone is switching their career from non-tech to tech, into especially web development is like a hot selling course right now. The main point is to crack the interview. If you learn through projects, I agree, but without learning basics, your jumping onto projects will not help you in cracking the interview. So your end goal is always cracking the interview. So you wouldn't be able to do that, because if you don't know the strong point, there is obviously a set of companies. Like I worked with one company, it was Singapore based. So their focus was to the companies that they took brought for the placements. For them, they just wanted candidates to crack project related questions. So their learning was project based, but again, for that also they spend at least 2 to 3 days on some basics, and then I moved them to the projects. So it could be tailored training according to the requirement, but at the end of the day, to crack that final interview, especially in India, they would literally grill you on the basics. They would never go like ask you like in 1 hour, they will ask you only 1 hour project questions. No, it's never going to happen in India. They will ask you a lot of questions into front end, back end. They will spend 10 to 15 minutes on project questions, right? So it's all overall. So yeah, so learning has to be there.
So the learning path may vary based upon the instructor. Okay.
I wouldn't say that. I myself is a self-taught developer, and then of course, instructor. See, it depends. So if you are someone who feel like I can do things, like there are a lot of people who are a self-taught developer or let's say instructors. So it's up to you. If you feel like you are someone who need guidance, who need
Okay.
mentorship, then obviously you should see. There are, let's say, if student is coming to me, right, they want a perfect plan to be done. Let's say they want to get a job in 6 months, right? So I will of course train them according to that. If a student feel like I have, let's say they are in second year, they are in, let's say, first year, they have a lot of time before their placement, so they can start learning on their own. But yes, if time comes, they feel like I am not able to do, I need some mentor, which generally student need at a point, so then of course you can go with the courses.
Can you share few realistic project ideas, full stack project ideas? Yeah, I mean that not only build skills, but also strengthen our portfolio.
Yes. So I always suggest these to candidates that always it would be great if you come up with your own idea. Like for example, if I talk about myself, the very first full stack project, burn stack project I developed was from real time use case. Like I figured out some issue. So I did all the learning during my college time only back 7-8 years back. So like kind of figured out some issue is there into communication of students and teachers. So back in like 2018. 17 or 18, so I built that burn app. So firstly it really strengthened my resume because it was not a something clone app. Nowadays,
Okay.
I mean, this is what I feel like. Clone app are if you're mentioning, let's say I created a clone of, let's say, Amazon or Flipkart or Ajio, your portfolio is not that strong. Instead, you should come with some realistic your own use case. It doesn't have to
Okay.
be like that problem does not like someone have not solved the problem. Even if it is
Okay.
something personal to you, that will really help you a lot. After that, if you feel like you're not able to figure out problem, of course you should select one domain. It would be great if you already have, let's say I want to go into service-based company, I want to go into media tech, I want to go into space tech, I want to go into e-commerce domain, right, or healthcare. So it would be great if you know like you want to go into this domain and you build a project around it, right? So go domain wise, select one domain, let's say manufacturing, fitness, whichever you like, and then find a use case in the same. And instead of creating clone projects, I would suggest create a very classic project where you have added your personal touch. Of course, as a learner, you can create clone projects, but that is in your learning journey. If you have to add a project in your resume, it has to be something which is your own. So like it's like own your project, and this is how you can go, like select a domain and then select a use case and then build a project around it.
Yeah. Really, it's a perfect point. Yeah, I mean, whatever the projects that we develop during our college days, we need to make sure that they must not replicate with the clone projects, right?
Definitely.
Because yeah,
So let's say even if let's say I take company interviews, like for companies I take interviews also for the candidate. So there, if as I myself as her interviewer, if I see like any clone project is there, right? First thing that comes to my mind, maybe student have copied from GitHub, or I don't know if the student have developed on their own. I mean that thought counts. Still counts.
Okay. I mean, what qualities do recruiters look for when they evaluating student projects on GitHub or during interviews?
So of course, let me take an example of a merge stack project. So in front end, of course, let's say firstly, the like if they open the live link, right? First thing, that is the UI part. So they would expect it to be user friendly. They would expect to be responsive. And in front end, majorly they focus on the functionality part. They would not see like you have created header, you have created footer, how many cards are getting displayed. They would functionality wise. I'll give you some examples like search functionality is there. With was add to wish list, add to cart functionality is there. Product, if it's a product detail page is there. Pagination if you have added, right? If you have added animations in your project, so that is what they would quickly see. Like in 5 minutes, they can tell you like project is worthy or not.
Mm-hmm.
And in backend, of course, they will not focus on the code part, but in backend, what they would focus in the optimization. Like if I'm clicking on a category of a product, so is the data coming like a very like buffering? If it's taking too much time, so because they are not going to eventually see your backend code, they would be evaluating the optimization, how fast the data is coming, how fast the search functionality is working, how if I'm clicking. If I'm clicking on add to cart, how fast the product is getting added, because all these operations will be done quickly,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that is what quickly they will just check. So in like 5 minutes, because there are so many candidates they have to take interview. These are the few things. So this is the same thing you should focusing on in your website.
Okay. I mean, also whenever recruiter evaluating the resume, right? Almost he might spend across some 5 to 10 seconds, right?
Yes.
Those 5 to 10 seconds, it's very crucial for every candidate, right? We need to grab that attention, right?
Yeah.
Can you suggest any keywords or else any add-ons
Sure.
to grab the attention on the resume?
Yes, definitely. Anyways, first thing is you should be building resume whenever someone is building a resume. They should see the ATS score. ATS score is eventually very relevant because it is checking the relevant keywords according to your field you are adding or not. Okay. So before you check the ATS score, few things that you can take care is that you should always include summary. Summary will give obviously you're going to add your academics, you're going to add the projects you have worked on, you're going to add your experience. But summary is something that tells who you are without you being present there. It will, like for example, if you're coming from non-tech and switching, right, you should add 3 to 4 lines what motivated you to switch your career. So that summary at the top should always be there. If you're adding any project, always include a live link. You should attach the live link of your project always.
Live links. True.
That is very important because anyways, resume like interviewer, and don't add GitHub link. Just put your link so that interviewer can just click and see the UI part of it. Right? Then after that, they should obviously going to include some experience if they have, right? And like academic, all these should come in the bottom. They don't have to keep it at the top.
Okay.
Initially, they should include the experience, projects, and as a fresher, obviously, if they don't have any experience, they should highlight their projects. Like they should add at least 3 to 4 projects, or divide it into, let's say, 2 they can keep full stack, 1 front end, 1 back end. Like that, they can divide, and they can keep those main projects there. And so these are the things they can include. And of course, I mean, skills and all has to be like perfectly segregated. Like don't add technologies and you're putting VS Code even in that. You should include like tools should be VS Code. Then you're using a front end, what text type you learned. If any third-party libraries, let's say Node.js, Movement.js, for Carousel you use, you should be mentioning those things as well.
Okay.
And this sum up with all the technical keywords will be there. Anyways, your ATS score will also improve, and of course, interviewer will be able to catch the important things immediately.
Okay. I mean, can you prioritize them? I mean, first projects or else experience.
Sure.
Or else our grade. Yeah. Can you prioritize?
Sure. So first thing has to be a summary. You can you should always use firstly resume should be in 1 page, and you can divide it into 2 columns. So you can put a summary, 3 to 4 lines max. Then after that, 2 column structure will start. First thing, if you're an experienced developer, put your experience first. Otherwise, you can put the project. Start with the projects. Then after that, you should include about a bit about the, like on the right side you put your technologies, right?
Okay.
And below top technologies you should put your certificates, like if you did any course certificate, any hackathon you have participated, any achievement if you have, right? So you should put there below technologies. And below projects you can then include about the your CGPA, of course, your 10th and plus 2 score you should add the marks. Then you should include about your interpersonal skills, your hobbies that you should include, and on the right side like your tech stack, your then certificate you should include about the achievement section. Anything like don't include something from 10th, that would not make any sense. Something till 12th. In 12th if you played, let's say, state level something, then you can include college. In college if you did something, so that you should obviously include there. So yeah, these has to be there in your resume.
Hobbies section, I mean, they are mandatory or not?
Below your interpersonal, on the left side.
Yeah. I mean, they are required or else we can ignore?
Yes. So
because personally I have evaluated few resumes, my junior resumes, they just placed Got second prize.
I'll suggest some things to everyone here. Here, you guys should use ChatGPT to get the perfect keywords. Let's say instead of adding
Hmm.
got
Hmm.
second prize, you tell ChatGPT you got a prize. You're writing a professional resume with, let's say I'm a fresher.
Hmm.
Then chat and you mention I needed it in 10 words. Now ChatGPT will give you relevant words in 10 words. They will give you a proper professional statement. So
Hmm.
this is where they should use it. So,
Okay,
so
okay.
yeah, instead of
Got it.
writing
Got
it
it.
on your use AI tools here for the like grammatical or like the perfect fancy
Hmm.
keywords.
Hmm. Perfect. Yeah. Also, we are in the world where AI is writing almost entire code, right? If we gave any prompt, I mean, if I gave, suppose consider lovable, we have lovable AI, okay? If I just opened that and if I gave my prompt, my requirement, within a fraction of seconds, it just building complete website, complete application, right?
Definitely.
On the other hand, right, what are the some core skills a developer need to master?
Okay. So, of course, like when I talked about customization, one thing is here I want to add system design. Let's say if I want to
Hmm.
build a chat application, right? So even if I want to put a prompt there, as a developer, my system design has to be good, right? I need to know what will be the architecture of my website, what are the libraries, tools. Let's say you've asked for a code, give a prompt, they will give you the code, right? The any AI tool you will use.
Hmm.
But what
Hmm.
tech stack you need, what exact libraries you need to use, that is something you are going to decide, right? So system design is one thing that they should be focusing on. And
Okay.
right now, till cloud is something which is very relevant. So I always say
Hmm.
this to candidates, even if you're building a career to web development, read about some cloud tools. Like you should know about cloud models like infrastructure as a service, software as a
Okay.
service, platform as a service. Try deploying a basic app on AWS or Azure, right? So those things are still like for that you can't use what should I say AI tools, right? So I mean that will enhance your knowledge as well,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And I always say this to students: learn prompt engineering as well. Like I also teach my candidates prompt engineering. So, but you should know when to use it, right? Of course, don't like start copying everything there. You should know when to use it. But even to put a prompt, I think your brain is needed. Like what I mean, prompt engineering is also an art, right? How correctly you're giving a prompt and getting a desired output in that is also an art. So of course that's also relevant.
Okay. Also, a lot of students used to struggle, right, to explain their own projects during interviews. How can someone confidently explain the flow and the tech stack of their projects?
Yes, this is like the most important thing, and it is a repetitive thing because mostly any interviewer will spend 10 minutes on a
Hmm.
project explanation. Everyone have to speak, and still student get stuck there, you know. So firstly, I'll just give you a basic structure. So firstly, structuring is important. Like let's say you will structure your introduction, right? Just like
Okay.
structure your project explanation. You already know, like if interviewer will ask me which merge stack project you have worked on. Just
Hmm.
keep one
Hmm.
project ready in your mind. Okay,
Hmm.
always if you are have the liberty to share your screen, keep the live link open already.
Hmm.
Make sure your firstly project is working. I see students work on a project, let's say 1 month back, and now API is not working, and they are not even checking it before their interview, right? So first thing, these are the dry run check you should do before your interview. And now how you should structure is always start with the project statement, but project statement should not be like even if you have created a clone project, it should not be like I have created a clone of Amazon. Instead says I was always curious about how e-commerce websites work, so I
Okay.
thought of creating my project around it. So this
Okay.
was my motivation, and I have tried my best to create a similar clone like Amazon, but also I have added some functionalities on my own. So this is how you should
Hmm.
explain own your project. Again, explain your project like that instead of just saying one line. Then after that, divide it into two parts, front end and back end. In front end,
Hmm.
tell about what functionalities your project has. The main thing, like earlier I mentioned, like search functionality, if you have added animations, if you have used any tool to optimize it, if you have used any tool to see how well your website health is doing. There are tools like that. So you can
Hmm.
use that also to just enhance your project explanation. And once you're done with the front end, then move to the back end part. Okay. Then of course you should mention the like whatever you have done in the backend, what APIs you have created. And once authentication, if you have added, ideally you should authentication, you should add JWT and all. So once that is done, then you should say if you feel like the project you have done it's relevant to what other companies any product is. Do some research about the company. If you feel your project have done can impact the company for whom you're sitting, any product of the company. Like let's say you're sitting for Microsoft and you feel any Microsoft product, this feature of project I have created can be used. So just mention that future scope, business impact, how your project can enhance. Just market yourself to the best. So that is how you can do, and you can spend like 5 to 10 minutes in that process.
Urvashi, you also help students with profile building, right? Okay, tell me what should a fresher's LinkedIn profile and this GitHub look like before applying?
Sure. So I'll start with GitHub. So firstly, of course, the day you start learning web development, you should create your GitHub profile the very first day. In GitHub, they are not interested how many projects or repositories you have added. They are more interested in that there is a section on homepage comes how many commits you have done. So they just want to see how regular you were. They are not interested you have added 10, 15, 20 projects. Even if you have added 2 projects and the commits is like from the day you started learning, and they would be more interested in that part. Okay, so you should, whatever you're doing, you should commit it every day. So let's say you worked on homepage today, you should commit the same day. Text you worked on about page, commit the code there. Okay, and of course basic that has to be there. Your good professional profile picture has to be there. Then bio, like there's a bio section in GitHub also. Few words just add there. And I would always say that follow the relevant people. Okay, that will also help you to gain knowledge. So basic profile and these things has to be there. After that, in your LinkedIn. Now LinkedIn is extremely important. LinkedIn also, I say, like at least once you reach till CSS JavaScript, you create an account on LinkedIn. You again in LinkedIn, your basic profile requirement you should complete, like profile picture, cover photo. Like what you do, you should add, instead of writing looking for a job, add a fancy words there, keywords. Then after that, your basic profile, like your skills has to be there. Your about should actually tell about yourself. So anyone would obviously go to about section. Okay. Skills has to be there. Projects, if you have added any patent, you should add about that. Certifications and education. So complete the basic profile first. After that, how you can use LinkedIn is to grow your network with the relevant talent acquisition team and the HR. Like I'll give you a pro tip here. In LinkedIn, if you want to, let's say, build your network, let's say I want to go into TCS, right? So even let's say you want to go to TCS or planning to give interview after 2 months, start building your network right now. Like in search, just put talent acquisition and the company name. That's it. You will get the relevant people and start building network with them. Okay. Like let's say I want to do job in Bangalore. Okay. So I'll just get a list of companies of Bangalore and just make a contact, or I will put all my network around talent acquisition HR of those companies. Okay. So that they can see, of course, that I'm looking for a job or opportunity. So that is, you can do building the relevant network. After that, you can do one more thing here. Posting is very important. So if you're on a project, you should put it. I mean, a lot of time people hesitate. Like I myself, when I started posting on LinkedIn or Instagram, first thing that comes is people are saying, how am I looking? Just don't think about these things. Just document your journey. You can literally document your learning journey there. And everyone has failed somewhere in their life. So you don't have to think if let's say sometimes students feel I will not be regular, what will happen? At least start. Like you should start, at least day one has to be there. Start posting about your learning journey. Whatever you have built, any assignment you have done, even if you're done a very classic coding question on your own, just put it on the LinkedIn. So you will have like relevancy on your profile. And then of course, when someone see your profile, they will know that you are someone who put a lot of efforts, hard work to learn new things and looking for a job. So these are the things you can definitely do.
So the answer is yes. Come up, show up on LinkedIn. Whatever you did, whatever you have learned.
Yes.
Okay. Documenting is crucial, right? Okay. I mean, what kind of resume sections or keywords should a full stack fresher definitely need to be included?
Yes. Definitely, and I would say not even fresher. On a path to become a full stack developer,
Mm, mm,
or
mm,
you can mention if you have solved any lead code questions, right? So
mm.
mention about that. If you have solved any like classic custom personalized project you have created, put it there. That will
Okay.
really enhance the like you have, like even you are a fresher, but the other person knows you already have done a lot of things. So yeah.
Also, one more thing, that is Gen AI. Can you break it down? What is Gen AI with a simple example?
Sure. So, Gen AI is like your smart computer, like a smart student who knows everything. Okay, and whatever you will ask, let's say in school, like we used to ask teacher like for a
Mm,
particular thing,
mm,
but
mm.
Gen AI is more intelligent. You ask it to write an essay, give the instructions, which is called prompt. Like I want 200 words, let's say, article on women empowerment, let's say.
Okay.
So that will create it customized for you. It's Google, but it is customizing just for you. So that is how Gen AI works. And you have different type of tools. Like
Mm,
for music, you have a different tool to generate an image. Like Deep AI is there. You give prompt to it. Let's say I want a girl standing in rain, holding an umbrella, and it literally
mm,
gives
mm,
you an image, right? So there are tools for that, for music, for photos, for videos, for articles, for even creating carousel post on
mm,
Instagram. You can
mm,
create
mm,
carousel.com.
mm,
So that
mm,
is
mm.
you can use. So that is what Gen AI is. So what we need to learn is the prompt part of it. Prompt engineering we need to learn. So that's yeah, in simple words, Gen AI.
Is Gen AI becoming a replacement for junior developers?
Not really. Like I mentioned, you should. I mean, see the developers who focus on the things like I mentioned, the core concept, the
Mm,
problem solving part, how adaptable they are, system design, cloud. If they are focusing on the growth part in the journey of whatever the language they are in, or whatever the tech stack they are working on, if they are growing their knowledge, then no one is replaceable.
mm,
At the end of the day, like I mentioned, even if you're using any GenAI tool, they will do things for you. But how to make it done according to your choice, you need to
mm,
have knowledge for that. So I mean, I personally never feel it can replace. But of course, if someone not using it will definitely replace, like GenAI will replace or AI tools will replace. Who is not using it, right? I always say this, like non-tech people should also use
mm,
it.
mm, mm.
It's very important. Yeah.
Mm. Can you share a success story of one of your students who landed a role after working with you?
Sure. I mean, there are many. So I'll talk about one lady. I would say she used to live in London, and
Okay.
she was a housewife from I think 12 years. And
Mm,
she just like her husband contacted me through. So I majorly get candidates from LinkedIn only. So
okay.
LinkedIn, he texted. I tell them like this is how much I charge, and like once I started training, I realized that I didn't knew like she's a housewife. I thought like she must be a student, maybe just starting her career. But she literally was around 36 years old.
Okay.
She was ready to, and she was not from non-tech background. She did a
Mm, mm,
BCom from India only. She was
mm,
Indian only, but living in London. And then she got placed like after I taught her JavaScript, HTML, CSS, and React. And like
okay.
in 3 months, she got her first job in London. And even I mean, that was a learning for me that it really doesn't matter. Even if you want to start at 40, 35 web development, you really don't have to be fresher or experienced. You can start with like a 12 years gap also. So that is was very overwhelming for me and learning for me as well. Like you can start at any age, and now she's working. It's been like 1.5 years. She's working as a JavaScript developer. So yeah, that would be one.
What's the maximum number of hours you have trained in a day?
Okay, so so the maximum numbers of hours that I've trained a candidate in a day would be around 15 hours. So I've trained candidates like for 15 hours in a day, like a
Okay.
different clients. So yeah.
I mean, sessions wise?
Session wise, yeah. Like for
Sessions wise.
example, like let's say there was a corporate training, 8 hours I spent on the corporate training. Then after half an hour break, I had another 2 hours training, half
Mm,
an hour, another two trainings. So that time I was working as a freelancer also. So that time, like I mean, I was into like when
mm.
I'm teaching, I'm like I can teach for 10 hours straight. I mean, that is something which I'm passionate about. So yeah, that's the maximum. I know it's not good for health, but yeah, I've spent that time and I still can. So yeah.
That was pure value, Urvashi. Thank you so much for sharing your insights, right? With perfect clarity, right? I'm sure every student and aspiring dev who are listening this will walk away with a clear roadmap. If you found this episode valuable, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also follow Urvashi on LinkedIn and Instagram.
Good wishes. So yeah, you guys can.
Okay, I'll ping in the description. Okay. Also, don't overthink. Just decode with Hrudesh.
Thank you.